Hi, Screwball82. I thought maybe it's about time I put my channel on here to some use. I'm going to be doing lots of these, like other people do. Just a bit of fun and maybe a conversation starter. See who else is out there who's on the same wavelength as me, and I enjoy talking about film, so the first movie I'm going to review is called The Last Unicorn. It's a 1982 animation. My childhood memory of the film was very muddy for all of my teenage years. I spent literally all my teen years remembering The Last Unicorn as this obscure sort of animation that I thought only I knew. Everyone's got that thing from their childhood, where you actually ask other people, do you remember this? I wasn't dreaming, that did exist, and this was that for me. The Last Unicorn was that thing, and I have to say, whenever I found anybody who knew what I was talking about, it was always very exciting. And so just a couple of years ago, I discovered that actually this story has its place in as a cornerstone of fantasy fiction. It was published in 1968, written by a guy called Peter Beagle, and kind of that knowledge obviously shines an entirely different light on what you remember. This thing that you thought for so long only you knew actually turns out to be a multi-million selling book in I think it's nearly 20 languages or so. I looked for it for ages on DVD. I searched and searched, and I don't remember where it was, but I do remember it was hard to get, and it came through the post, and I'm not joking, a week later it was everywhere. It was in the stores, Asda, Sainsbury's, I could have gone down the road and picked it up. There you go. When you're a child, little about this sort of thing matters that much beyond, it entertains you, it's colourful, it's perhaps musical, and it's fun. But, you fail to see all the stuff that makes it a timeless, classic work of art. You miss, it's a book that transcends age and gender, and yet when you're a kid, none of that shit matters. It's it's a colourful, fun piece of bit of animation. The story on the surface is a straightforward one. It's a unicorn who discovers she may well be the last of her kind in existence, and after an encounter with a butterfly who tells her that the Red Bull chased all her sisters into the sea for the evil King Haggard, she embarks upon a quest to find them, if not save them. On her way, she befriends a magician called Schmendrick and an outlaw servant girl called Molly, and together they arrive at King Haggard's castle, and a final showdown ensues. Viewing The Last Unicorn as an adult, the appeal actually grows. You'd think it would diminish, but it grows because the depth of Beagle's tale becomes more apparent. The very human themes of sort of friendship and loyalty and tolerance and greed and corruption, they become very potent. Beagle himself actually adapted the book for the screen, and so it stays pretty true to the book. The themes aren't. What's nice is that the themes aren't so weighty that a child will find it laborious. There was talk of there being a live-action version of this from the people responsible, I believe, for all the second unit stuff of Lord of the Rings. Certain members of the cast were going to be on board. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen now, which is a shame. Speaking of the cast, though, which is an element that I think when you're a kid you don't care, but I can't think of an animated piece of work off the top of my head that I think is better, across the board, is better cast and better played than this. Sir Christopher Lee, Jeff Bridges, Alan Arkin. Now, if you don't know Alan Arkin, think the father in Edward Scissorhands. If that doesn't help, the grandfather in Little Miss Sunshine. If you need something really current and up-to-date and mainstream, Marley and Me, he was the boss. That's Alan Arkin. Angela Lansbury, and Mia Farrow. And they all give really astounding performances. You really sense that they're not there for just a job. They really enjoy the work. They want to be there. There are many points of the film that are really moving to me, not only because of the very quotable and really powerful dialogue from Beagle, but also because of its delivery, by these actors. For some time I have felt that darkness and scary, the frightening stuff, tends to be, it was very absent from young people's entertainment for quite some time, I found, through my teens. That was my impression anyway. I think nightmares and fear are all part of growing up, and part of what made The Last Unicorn stay with me for so long was the darkness. The terrifying Red Bull chasing unicorns into the sea, the witch Mummy Fortuna capturing and caging animals and disguising them as mythic beasts for an audience. They are scary ideas, and just because they're animated the image is just as scary, and I'm thankful for it. So, I'm not a fan of Harry Potter, but I do acknowledge that Rowling has played a big part in reintroducing that that idea of dark and scary. And yeah, I am aware that she moved with an audience who grew up with her, but I just mean in general, it does seem that we went through a period where we were very worried about showing our children dark things, and I don't, they're not idiots and they're not to be spoken down to, and look at the results. I think they handle it well, and it's part of, I've always thought if you don't experience a bit of fear and a bit of darkness, and have your nightmares when you're young, it's almost like it sort of doesn't prepare you. But that's a whole other conversation. The Last Unicorn is beautiful. It's unconventionally animated, and it's pitched perfectly for children. Like I just said, the perfect balance of light and dark and drama and humour. The only element that I feel lets the film down a bit, from an adult perspective, is the songs. Now let me just make it clear, I'm not talking about the soundtrack. The soundtrack is by the band America, and they do it really nicely. The songs are memorable and haunting. I'm talking about the songs that are sung by the characters at a couple of points in the film. They do delay the movie, and I find them awkward, but I also understand that they are a storytelling device for the younger audience of the time, and they kind of, illustrate the character arc in an engaging way. So it's not a huge price to pay for an otherwise, excellent piece of work, and you just sort of accept it for what it is. I am really impressed that Mia Farrow and Jeff Bridges sang their own parts, that it wasn't professionally voiced. That so many examples now of when the character starts singing, it becomes this pro, and I kind of liked the continuity and the honesty of the actor just doing it. It's really nice. And as I say, the performances themselves, away from that, I can't reiterate enough. Excellent. Of particular note, Mia Farrow is excellent. I urge everyone, young and old, male, female, whoever you are, it transcends all that. Read it, see it, do both. It's a film that I don't think should be forgotten, and it's a rare gem. It's really special. It doesn't matter where you are in life. You that's what makes it great. You really see what you need to see in it. There's an awful lot of depth to the story, and highly recommended to everybody, kids and adults alike. And any parents out there, if you're not aware of it and you do want something, really enriching, for your children, that actually educates and has a morality to it and has all that stuff that you wish your children got more of. It's a film to get.